Hi everyone, and welcome to this training video. In this video, I show you how to build automated ETL pipeline using Snowpipe to ingest JSON file from Azure Blob Storage into Snowflake table in near real time. The process demonstrates how to leverage Azure Event Grid and a storage queue to notify Snowflake whenever new file is uploaded. Okay, this diagram shows how Snowpipe loads data automatically from Azure Blob Storage into a Snowflake table using an event-driven pipeline. This diagram represents a continuous near real-time ingestion process. The external stage is a Snowflake object that points to Azure Blob Storage. And Azure Blob Storage is a location outside the Snowflake. And when new file arrives in the Azure Blob Storage container, Azure Event Grid generates an event notification. And this event is sent to a storage queue in the storage account. The queue informs Snowpipe in the Snowflake that new file loaded into Azure Blob Storage, and Snowpipe reads the message from a storage queue and use the copy into command to insert actual data from Azure Blob Storage directly into a Snowflake table. This is the process of the ETL pipeline with the help of the Snowpipe. Note that when the file that we are going to talk about in this video is a JSON file, and when the JSON file loaded into Azure Blob Storage, the metadata of this file will be stored in the storage queue, and this storage queue integrated with the Snowflake notification integration object into Snowflake, and then inform the Snowpipe that new data loaded into Azure Blob Storage. And with the help of this metadata in the queue that Azure Event Grid handle it, and Snowpipe directly take actual data and load this data into a Snowflake table. In the next part of the video, I will show you how we can implement practically the Snowpipe. This is the main page of the Snowflake. We use a Snowflake SQL for implementing this project. So first, let me create the worksheet. Let me create the worksheet here. In the project, we add a new SQL file and name it Snowpipe SQL, and hit enter. Let me close the next done. Let me close this and this. This is the SQL worksheet, and let me copy this code here. Close the diagram, yes, and paste it here. As I explained in the previous video in the Snowflake, the terminology in hierarchical namespace in Snowflake is first database, and inside the database you can have one or more schema, and inside the schema you can create every Snowflake objects like stage, like file format, table, view, function, everything. Let me first run the first two lines and go to yes, here. Let me hit refresh and take it up. Yes, here is a database, and there, when you create the database, two default schema will be created for Snowflake usage, and here is your schema, and create the table inside. Let's hit refresh, and this is the table, and the table is the table has one column, and the type of the data in this column is variant, is a JSON. And file format, we create the file format. When you mention this name JSON format inside the query, it's represented the type of the data is a JSON. And here is a storage integration. When you run the storage integration, the Snowflake service principal will be created. Before running this query, we have to create this URL. This URL consists of a storage account name and container name. Let me go to Azure portal and create a resource group. This is the resource group. First, create the resource group, and inside the resource group, you can have your services, your resources, and we use one resource storage account in this project. And let's hit refresh. It takes a couple of seconds to this resource group available. Let me refresh the whole page. Yes, and here you can create a storage account service. When you storage account, this is the storage account that it creates, and we have two types: Azure Blob Storage or Azure ADLS Gen 2. And here, this is the name. It must be the same because this URL points to a storage account. The name must be the same. And this is the name of a storage account. And we left the rest as default, and local redundant storage is LRS, and hit next. And here this option, when you create a storage account, inside the storage account you can create one or more containers. If you load directly the files, blob, every JSON file is a blob or file, you can load it into container. If you don't want to use the hierarchical namespace, I mean directory, and inside the directory you create another directory. If you don't want it and you want directly load your blob or files directly in the container, you don't need to check this option. If when you leave it as default, it's Azure Blob Storage. When you check this, you check mark it, enable hierarchical namespace will be enabled, and you can have inside a container
we can have inside the container several directories, and this directory is hierarchical in the hierarchical namespace, and it turns to ADLS Gen 2. We leave it as default because we need container, and inside the container we load just only JSON files, and take these JSON files and load it into a Snowflake table. Review plus create, and waiting for validation, and then create. Less than 1 minute. It takes less than 1 minute to have the storage account service. Deployment is in the progress. We have to wait. Before that, let me explain you what is this. As I said before, storage integration, when you run this query, Snowflake service principal will be created and stored here, and is creating a storage integration is a name, is external stage. As I said before in the diagram, external stage points to storage, cloud storage, and provided is Azure enabled is true. Azure Tenant ID, you can have Azure Tenant ID inside the Microsoft Intro ID. In the overview, you can copy this and load it and paste here. And storage allow location is this URL that points to a container, and inside this container name inside this storage account. If you go to resource group, inside the resource group you have a storage account, and here in data storage you have container and queue. We use container and we use queues as well. Two services inside the storage account. We create the containers that can be able to load our JSON files inside. This is the container name is created, and when you run this, a storage account is successfully created. When you first we run the describe storage integration and the name with this, we have two options: Azure consent URL and Azure tenant app name. Tenant app name is a service Snowflake service principal. I will explain you how you can use this name. Before that, we need Azure consent URL. When you click the Azure consent URL, you will be navigated here. This is the permission request. When you click the accept it, this action allows a service principal, a Snowflake service principal, to be granted access token, and this access token will be succeeded when you assign. You will be navigated here in the Snowflake homepage. You can close it. When now in this stage, access token into Snowflake service principal, this action allows to be granted access token, and now we are ready to assign the appropriate permission and appropriate role to this service principal. When we assign the appropriate role to this service principal, access token will be succeeded, and Snowflake can access to Azure Blob Storage storage account service. This is the storage account service. With the help of the storage integration, we created the Snowflake service principal and created the access token, and Now we are ready to assign the appropriate role to this service principal. The appropriate role is a storage blob data contributor, and a storage blob data contributor, we can assign this role is higher than storage blob data reader. A storage blob data reader allows Snowflake just read files, but contributor read and write. We choose contributor, and here we can choose our service principals, and we can copy this and paste it here. We have to delete after underscore to this service principal available. And next, and review process sign. And when we assign appropriate role to access token, this access token granted to a Snowflake service principal, when you assign appropriate role, this role, the access will be succeeded, and in this time a Snowflake is able to access a storage account container to read files resided inside the container. This stage will finish, and before going ahead, I have to create the events. Events, when you create the event subscription, first let me name event subscription, for example, a snow sub demo, for example, and this subscription has topic. Let me explain you a Snowpipe plus Azure Blob Storage. Yes, here automate Snowpipe and topic. Topic is instruction for triggering a Snowpipe. When you let me before doing something else, we created the container. Let me create the queue as well. Here queue, and name it my queue Snowpipe, my queue Snowpipe, for example. This is the queue, and let me go back to events subscription, Azure event grid, Microsoft Azure event grid. This is the Microsoft Azure event grid, and first my sub snow, for example, pipe. My sub Snowpipe is a name, and topic, as you can see here, topics provide the instruction for triggering a Snowpipe data. Loads from external stage that points to Azure Blob Storage automatically using the Microsoft Azure Event Grid, that Microsoft Azure Event Grid messages that provided for every blob storage, and load these events into a queue. Load this events message into queue as a destination. Topics has several items. First is a topic type, is a storage account. Pick a topic resource for each event should be pushed to your destination, and source resources is a storage account, and You can name it a system topic name. For example, my topic, Snowpipe. My topic is Snowpipe, and here you can blob creating. Blob creating is blob is a file. Blob creating is event type, and when blob creates the event message, this Azure event grid, when the new file created, Azure event grid create the event message and loaded into endpoint details. Endpoint details is a storage queue. Endpoint is a storage queue, and the event subscription has a topic, and topic is instructions that the source of the topic is a storage account, event type is blob creating, and endpoint details is a storage queue, and you can configure an endpoint a storage queue we already created, and we can storage account take it this, and this my queue a Snowpipe selected as an endpoint that event grid responsible when the new file loaded into a container as a blob, create the event message is a metadata for this blob, and is gonna be the name of container, the name of the file, the type of the file, and notify the Snowpipe to take actual data from Azure Blob Storage and load it into Snowflake table. So this is the URL we have to take, copy. We have to copy and select and then create. And we can go to next step, notification integration. Notification integration is a notification, it notifies the Snowpipe. Enable true, type queue, notification provider is storage queue, and primary URL it is that URL we already copy, and tenant ID is the same as previous one. We can run it, and with describe we have to go the same way as before, and this is nothing but a consent URL to create the service principal, and then grant the access token and assign the role, proper role to this service principal for accessing to a storage account queue. So let me first run this. This service principal already created with the running this code and store inside. We have this message when you click accept. It allows to be granted the access token to this Snowflake service principal, and this is the app name is unique. We can create it, we can click and copy this and assign the appropriate role inside the storage account to provide the access for Snowflake to have access to a storage account queue. So the default role we assign is it was a storage account blob contributor. It's this role is a storage queue storage. Before one is a storage blob data contributor. Here is a storage queue data contributor. We have a storage queue data reader. We use a storage queue data contributor. And here we can select and we can paste and delete after underline. And this is the service principal. Review, assign. And then we have if you see here role assign, you have two proper appropriate roles that assign, and Snowflake has access for a blob and has access to queue. So here we define the stage. The stage resided inside this schema, this database, this schema, and the storage integration is we have already defined, and this is the URL of the blob storage and file format. Stage successfully created, and we are ready to define the pipe. Is auto ingest true? Integration is this that notifies Snowpipe, and copy into this table, and from this stage that points to storage blob, Azure Blob Storage with this file format. Let me hit create. It's successfully created. Now is the time to go to container, and inside the container we upload. First, let me see. This is a table, is empty. Definitely no result. We go to container and upload our own files, JSON files. This is the JSON files. Let me upload it, and it takes a couple of seconds that you can see. As soon as you load file in the Azure Blob Storage, it's immediately available because this @ this external stage points to, and it takes a time that you can see inside the table. Let me wait to see. Yes, it's yes, is to record. Let me open it. Open this JSON file. It's to records, and let me load another one. For example, this. Let me upload it, and we have to wait. Is near real-time scenarios for Snowpipe to track files and load it into Snowflake. But external stage, in the external stage, you see another JSON file, and for table, yes, for table you can see 4 records. If you open the second file, is 2 records as well. You can see 2 records. Yes.
I hope you found this video helpful. To support my endeavor, please support my YouTube channel and subscribe. Thank you for watching. If you have any question, just leave a comment. Bye for now.